quiet car, this. So this is a Lexus CT200h, which is Lexus's first attempt at a luxury hatchback. Before that, they'd only ever built saloons and SUVs. So back in the design room, I imagine it went down as Toyota, the parent company, giving them the Toyota Prius and saying, look, take this. You have to keep the drivetrain and the engine and the hybrid system and everything. It has to be exactly the same. And then basically you've got to replace the body shell and the suspension and so on, and just create something Lexus-y. And there's your challenge. It actually was a good platform to begin with, because, I mean, what's Lexus about? It's about quiet, luxurious cruisers. They're not apart from the F-Sport models and so on, they're not barnstorming loud V8 machines or anything like that. So really it made sense to start from a Toyota Prius platform. They had Kylie Minogue on the adverts, and she was basically going on about how quiet the car was. I'm not really sure why they needed her particularly. She's famous for being quiet or anything, but...
The world's first full hybrid luxury compact car.
One aspect of this car that makes it really quite simple to review is that there was only ever one engine and drivetrain option available for it, and that was, of course, the 1.8 litre petrol mated to a electric motor. The 1.8 litre engine on its own has 98 horsepower, but when you combine it with the electric motor you get 135, which is perfectly respectable amount of horsepower, but it's not going to set the world alight. So you kind of get reasonable performance. It's 0 to 60 in 10 seconds. But the other thing is that it's got a CVT gearbox, which is, as far as petrol heads are concerned, not ideal. It's quite a strange thing, and when you're just ambling around town, it's perfect for it, because you can't really hear the engine, and it just glides along and so on. But when you want to go, that sort of wonderful rising and falling of engine revs that you get and that petrol heads so love is gone with the CVT gearbox. But in essence, it's constantly changing gear, almost like through infinite amounts of gears. So it allows the engine RPM to stay exactly the same, and the car will accelerate forward. So it's quite a strange thing at first. Yeah, so it just sounds slightly like the engine's being tortured. It's a really quirky car, the CT. There's lots of little things about it that you wouldn't get on other cars. Even just like the handbrake, which is actually a foot brake, quite weird to get used to. The little battery monitor tells you whether you're using power from the battery or whether power's going back to it. And then on the gear select, there's this thing that just says B, which is for if you're going downhill. You can increase the regeneration rate to the battery, and it holds the car back. So it's like having the car in a lower gear, but you're getting more power to the battery as well. You're making use of gravity and the momentum and the heavy weight of this car as it comes down the hill to recharge the battery and save your brakes at the same time. I was going to try out EV mode because it can drive on electric power only for up to about a mile, as long as you don't go above 28 miles an hour. But I've just pressed EV mode and it's saying EV mode not available, low battery. So this is pretty cool. The window glass goes up really fast and then slows down when it gets to the top. Yeah, Lexus interiors are quite unique. I can't really think of any other brand of car that designs their interiors like Lexus do. So they definitely stand out as something a bit different. And I really like this really wide centre console, and then this overhanging sort of climate controls and everything. Actually, the general sort of ambience in the interior, I do like it. I'd never really thought about what CT actually means. It just, as with all these things, kind of meaningless, you know, like just a couple of letters, isn't it? But apparently it means creative touring. So something quite fun about this car is the different drive modes. You've got Eco, Normal and Sport. Now obviously Eco is all about fuel economy and getting those MPGs. And then Sport mode is obviously gives you a bit more throttle response and the car feels a little bit nippier. What Eco mode does apparently is that really it just, if you're a bit of a heavy right foot kind of person, then Eco mode just sort of softens the inputs from your foot. So it's not really doing much else other than basically schooling you and saying, well, you don't need to accelerate that hard, I'll decide on that. I don't really have a heavy right foot, so in Eco mode, when I come to a junction or something and put my foot down the amount I normally would, it's like the car just creeps out slowly, and it really did catch me out the first couple of times I was driving a car, one of these, because it surprises you. Like, you'll see a car come in, you'll think you'll have plenty of time, you'll pull out, and then you'll realise that the car's not accelerating as you thought it would, and the car's right up behind you, so you feel a bit stupid. Sport mode does genuinely make a difference to the throttle response, and it does make the car feel sportier, but you're still stuck with that sort of CVT level of performance. But the sort of interesting thing about the modes is what it does to the dashboard and the dials and how they change colour. So in Normal and Eco, you've got blue, everything's blue, you've got this blue ambient lighting as well, which is quite ahead of its time actually in 2011. And then when you go into Sport mode, it goes red, but it also changes the dial. Everything goes red, and you get the RPM like you would in a normal car. Around town, this car's just, I think it really is well suited, because you get that little slight whir from the electric motor, and you can't hear the engine too much. The only thing that really lets it down around town is once you can start hitting some bumpy bits or potholes. It's surprising that the suspension's not quite as soft as you would hope with a car like this, because at the end of the day, it's not a sporty car. It's literally got a CVT gearbox and hybrid drive. On the positive side, it doesn't handle too badly. Like it's quite actually surprisingly nice to drive.
Fuel economy, officially it's 68 mpg, but a very realistic and attainable figure that I've often achieved is closer to 50 to 55 mpg.
So this being a 2013 model, it's just before the facelift. Now, they did significantly change the look of this car in 2014, and apparently they made a few changes to the suspension as well. Obviously the main big difference was the massive, what they call a spindle grille that appeared on the front end of the car. A brash design initially, but then it's kind of, as all cars have gone that way with their big grills and stuff, it doesn't look particularly out of place, and I quite like the facelifted version of this car. They came quite well equipped, these cars. Given that they were released back in 2011, the standard equipment on them is quite good. Like it came with Bluetooth, which back then Bluetooth was quite an unusual thing in cars, and certainly it wasn't a standard feature. So you get Bluetooth as standard on all CT200s. You can get an aux in where you can connect your phone or iPod or whatever in, and a USB port. Again, quite forward thinking for 2011. And all cars come with like dual zone climate control as well. Here's something that's vaguely annoying. Reverse beeps. If you want to reverse your car, you have to have this wonderful sound. It's yeah. I like the gear selector in the CT. It's like the top of an old man's cane. It's quite funny, but it feels nice in the hand, and it feels quite nice to use as well. Like it's got a damped feeling to it, and that kind of goes for all the controls really. Like the drive select, the mode select between Eco and Normal and Sport. That also has like a sprung action on it, and then you've got like the leather on the side of the sense console, which means my knee can rest against it and not feel too uncomfortable. And then on the other side, it's wide enough that my knee doesn't actually touch the door. So when you're cruising along on a motorway or something, it's quite a comfortable place to be. So I'm going to hand over to my long-suffering colleague to find out what it's like in the back of this car. Now it should be all right because it's a hatchback design with a fairly high roof, but we'll see what he thinks anyway. So yeah, what do you reckon, mate? Can you put your turtleneck down? You look ridiculous. Thank you. Yeah, sorry mate. Just, you know, you never know what's out there now. You protect yourself. It's alright. I mean, I'm struggling for leg room right here behind him. Like if the seat's set for JJ, then my knees are in the back of the seat a bit, but the headroom's pretty good. I'm alright to sit up in here. Got nice tinted glass on this model. Yeah, not much to report really. Jesus handles, no lights or anything. It's actually quite sparse back here for a luxury car. There's literally no features, just electric windows. And something you forgot by the way, JJ, to mention is that this car is actually free road tax. Like, so there's £0 a year to tax this car, and you can't be expected to remember everything, so I don't mind helping out now and again with these facts. So yeah, another feature of this car is the keyless go. So it's got this key, but you don't actually put it in anywhere. You just, as long as it's in the car. Otherwise the car starts complaining if you get out of the car and walk off with it. It's like, where's the key? But yeah, as long as you leave it in the car, you can then just start the car up with a push of this button, which is kind of like fairly futuristic for 2011. So looking around the cabin for practicalities and stuff, we've got a sunglasses holder up at the top, which I always like. More cars should have one of those. Always handy. A pretty decent centre console cubby, which when you open it, it kind of opens itself on a spring-loaded mechanism. So it's like, you know, in a Lexus you don't have to do it yourself. You don't have to use your own arm to open it. And there's cup holders, which this is the fat-bottomed bottle, and that fits nice easily in these massive cup holders, which are also really deep, quite unusually deep, but they don't have arms in them, so like there's nothing to hold things in, so it could be rattling around in there. That's the only downside of them. And then the bottle also sort of just about fits in the side pockets as well. So it seems as though there are 26 different intensity levels for the heated seat. So you can really just be like, well, yes, I think I need it to be about a 17 today. It's pretty cold out there. And then you can click it back in and it hides it out of the way. It feels quite nice to press as well. And then in the centre console here, there's a place for your key, I think that is, and then a nice little mat to store a few little things, a shallow one. The USB and aux input underneath this nicely damped panel, and your 12 volt socket as well. So the boot situation, that's an overhead locker sized case. It's a pretty reasonable sized boot, like any other hatchback. And then you've got this, if I can do it right, cover over the top as well. And then you've got your under little hidden storage bit as well. And not every car I drive suits the JJ Car's turtleneck, but I think this Lexus, it does actually. I feel like when I get out of this car and people see this outfit, it's not incongruous. It actually matches the car a bit. So I don't know what that says about the car, but you can. I'll leave you to make up your own minds.
A quick one on reliability. You shouldn't have much to worry about. The CT consistently comes out near the top in used car reliability surveys. If you are concerned about the hybrid components, such as the battery, it's worth looking into Lexus's warranty known as Lexus Relax.
So in summary, it's a reliable car and it's well put together. I mean, it was the most reliable used car of 2020. It's very economical. You know, it seems like a fairly luxurious car and quiet to be in. So it's definitely a car that I'd consider if I was in the market for something that wasn't particularly sporty but was economical and relaxing. If you've got one of these cars, do let me know in the comments what you think about it and you know, what made you buy it in the first place. They're definitely a quirky sort of car, one worth considering. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.